In this lesson, we are going to factor a trinomial with a leading coefficient that's greater than 1. Greater than 1. So in the last lesson, the leading coefficient here was 1. And today we're going to learn a way of factoring trinomials with leading coefficients greater than 1. Okay, the old guess and check method is what I used when I was in high school. We're going to learn a little bit of an easier way to do it today. So if we've got a trinomial in this form, what we're going to do, I'll just kind of explain the process and then we'll look at some examples. We're going to take this number here, the a, and multiply it to c and rewrite it as a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 1 because we know how to do those. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2 is to factor that. Okay, factor that. Now obviously we would not have a minus here or whatever, but and we're not really factoring this anyway, but we would factor that, and then what we would do is bring this a back into the factors by dividing the numbers that we have here and here. Okay, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but if you see, once you do a few examples, it is the same thing over and over and over. So it's good to practice this, and once you've done quite a few of these, you'll be really good at it. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of what we're going to accomplish today in 7-6. Okay, we are looking at example set 1. Example set 1. Some of these will be pretty easy. Some of these will be really difficult, but we'll work through these. Okay, it'll be all right. So again, the first step when we see a leading coefficient greater than 1, we're going to take this 6 and multiply it to the 5 and rewrite it x squared plus 13x plus 30. Okay, so we just took that 6, multiplied it by the 5. That is step 1. Step 2 is to factor that. Okay, so we got two parentheses. It's a plus plus, so I'm going to have a plus plus here. Now I need numbers that multiply to be 30, but add to be 13. That's going to give us 10 and 3. We have an x here and an x here. Okay, now we're going to reintroduce. We're actually going to pull the 6 out of that. We multiplied it by this, so we're going to bring the 6 back in here and divide each of these by 6. Okay, the next step, we want to reduce each one of these. Okay, so I get 10 over 6. I'm going to divide by 2 and get 5 over 3. I'm going to reduce this and get 1 over 2. Now the last step, I know this seems really complicated, but it's a lot easier than the way we did it in school. We're going to take this number and bring it in front of the x as the coefficient of this x, bring this number as the coefficient of this x, and then that's our answer. So we get 3x plus 5, and we get 2x plus 1. Okay, all I did was take that and bring it here. All I did was take that and bring it here. And there's our factors, 3x plus 5, 2x plus 1. Okay? That is how you do it. I know it seems crazy, but once you do a few of these, it's not hard to remember. Let's mess with this one a little bit later. Let's look at this. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it. I'll put it up here. I'm going to rewrite as x squared plus 16x plus 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to, step 2 is to factor that. X and x multiplies to be 15, adds to be 16. That's 1 and 15. Okay. Now that's factored. Now I'm going to bring the 3 that we multiplied to get the 15 back out of that by dividing by 3. Okay. And this, if it's a whole number, that's great. I want to reduce it to its whole number and leave it. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. We get x plus 5 with that. Okay. And then this 3, that is reduced, so this 3 is going to go back around to be the coefficient of this x, and we get 3x plus 1. And those are our factors. Next, let's look at this one. I'm going to rewrite it, x squared plus 9x plus 20. I'm going to factor. Okay, all of these are plus plus, so we're going to put pluses there. X and x Now, numbers that multiply to be 20 and add to be 9, that's 5 and 4. 5 and 4. Okay, now we're going to bring the 2 back into play here. We're going to divide by 2 and divide that by 2. We're going to reduce that and make it 2, and we're going to leave that like that. Okay. Now, this doesn't reduce, so I'm going to take this 2 and put it in front of this x and get 2x plus 5. Okay, there's our factors, 2x plus 5 times x plus 2. Okay, clear. Let's do this one. I've been waiting. Okay, x squared plus 22x. Now we got to multiply. We're going to multiply this 8 by this 15. So that should be 120 when I do that. 120. Okay. Now, 2 sets of parentheses here. I've got x and x. And 22, well, I know that's 12 times 10, and that adds to be 22, so 12 and 10 work for me. Now, we had an 8. We're going to bring the 8 back into play. Okay, divide by 8, divide by 8. Reduce those fractions. So we're going to divide by 4 and get 3 over 2. Here we'll divide by 2 and get 5 over 4. Okay, now bring this 2 around, bring this 4 around. Okay, so this will be a 2x plus 3, and this will be 4x plus 5. And that should give us 8x squared plus 22x plus 15 when we multiply. Okay, let's look at the next one. We'll do these last two and be done with this example set. I'm going to multiply that, so we get y squared plus 9y plus 20. Okay, we're going to factor that. Again, 20, we got a 9 here. That's going to be 5 and 4. Okay, 5 plus 4 is 9. 5 times 4 is 20. We've got that. Now, we're going to bring the 10 back into play. Okay, so divide by 10, divide by 10. Reduce these. That's 1/2. That's y plus, we're going to divide by 2 and get 2/5. Now, take these bottom numbers. Those will be the coefficient for both y's. So we get 2y plus 1. And we get 5y plus 2. And that should give us 10y squared plus 9y plus 2. Let's clear that out and do the last one. Okay, let me make 2 parentheses. Let's rewrite this by multiplying by that. We get x squared plus 19x plus 60. Plus 60. Okay, let's look, let's factor that. We got x and x here. Now it's got to multiply to be 60 and add to be 19. So that would be 15 times 4, because 15 and 4 give me 19. So they're both plus. Okay. Now we're going to bring this 5 back. That's going to be divided by 5. That will be divided by 5. This gives me x plus 3. Okay. I'm going to pull this 5 and put it in front of the x. I get 5x plus 4. Okay. And that is factoring basically a double plus pattern here, if I can call it that. And a number greater than 1 for the leading coefficient. In example set 2, we're looking at ax squared minus bx plus c. And you'll notice from the last lesson we have a pattern that is a difference sum, a subtract minus plus. So that's going to give us, when we factor, 2 negatives. Okay, both our factors will have negative signs or minus signs. Okay, so again, the same process. We're going to multiply those two. So I'm going to get x squared minus 11x plus 24. I'm going to factor that. Again, because that's positive, it's what multiplies to be that and adds to be that. Okay, so 6 and 4 do not do it, but 8 and 3 do. Okay, so it's going to be an 8 and a 3. And they're both going to be minus, because I've got a minus plus pattern there. Okay, I'm going to bring the 6 back in. Okay, I'm going to reduce these. Divide by 2, I get 4/3. and reduce that. That's 1/2. Now I'm going to bring these over to be the coefficients, and I get 3x minus 4, and I get 2x minus 1. 2x minus 1, and that should give us 6x squared minus 11x plus 4 if we were to FOIL that. Okay, keep going. Let's do, let's see, z squared minus 8z plus 12. Plus 12. Let's factor that. Okay, we got z and z. We have got, let's see, we got negative 8. So it's got to be multiplied to be 12 and add to be 8. So that's 6 and 2. And they're both minus. Okay, that's what that pattern gives us. We're going to bring the 3 back in here and here. Now we can just write our final answer. Now we got z minus 2. Okay, and here we're going to bring this 3 in front of this z and get 3z minus 2. Okay, that does it for that one. 2 more. Let's multiply the 5 and the 9. We get y squared minus 18y plus 45. Factor, 2 parentheses, 2 minus signs, y. Okay, it's got to be 18 when we add them together, so I'm thinking 15 here times 3. That gives me 45 and 18 when I add. Okay, we took the 5 out. We're going to put the 5 back in, or we didn't take it out. We just basically multiplied c by that. We're going to put the 5 back in here, or actually remove it from that. Okay, that gives me y minus 3. And then I'm going to take that 5 and make it the coefficient of y, 5y minus 3. And there is our answer. Clear? One more of these. Okay, 4 times 49. Well, that's the downside of this. Sometimes they get a little large. X squared minus 35x. 4 times 49 is basically 4 less than 200, which is 196. Okay, so I'm going to factor. That's the hard part, factoring this one. Okay, we've got a minus. I'm sorry, that's an x there. That's an ugly minus. Let's back that out and make it look good. There we go. Okay, so I need numbers whose sum is 35. That multiplies to be 196. Okay, well, I know I multiplied 4 times 49 to get that, and that sum is not going to work. That's going to be 53 when I add those together. So I've got to divide this by a larger number. So 5 won't work, 6 won't work, but 7 I believe will. When I divide this by 7, I'm going to put a 7 here. That's going to give me a 2, and remainder 2 goes in that 14 times, remainder 5, that's going to be an 8. So I get 28 and 7, and when I add those, that is 35. So this actually works. Okay, I'm going to bring the 4 back in here and here, and we're going to write our final answer. Pull that 4 around in front of the x, 4x minus 7. Okay, I'm going to just divide that, and I get 7. And there is your answer, and that is example set 2. In example set 3, we're looking at a plus-minus pattern. Okay, we know 2 things from this, that we're going to have alternating signs. That's the first thing. The second thing is we're going to find things that multiply to be that, but subtract to be that. That's what that negative in front of the c is telling us to do. Okay, but I'm still going to do the same first step. I get x squared plus 31x minus 140. Okay, minus 140. And now we're going to factor this. Okay, so we've got an x and an x. We've got alternating signs. We'll figure that out in a minute. 140, it must have a difference of 31, so that's quite a difference between the 2 numbers that multiply to be 140. We know that obviously 7 times 20 is 140, but that's not a difference of 31. It's got to be a larger difference. So let's go smaller than the 7. Let's look at 4. 4 goes in the 140 35 times. Okay, 35 times. So we're going to do 4 and 35. The biggest, this number is positive, so this number must be positive, and that number will be negative. Okay. Now I'm going to bring back in the 10. So put a 10 here, 10 here. Reduce x minus, sorry, that's an equal sign. Let's go x minus 2/5 and x plus, we're going to divide by 5, we get 7 halves. 7 halves. Okay. Now we're going to bring this 5 in front of the x. We get 5x minus 2. Bring this 2 in front of the x. We get 2x plus 7. And that gives us our factors. Okay, clear. Do this one. Y squared plus 4y minus 12. Factor. Y and y. Okay, it must multiply to be 12, but subtract to be 4. It's got to be 6 and 2. This is positive, so the biggest one needs to be positive. That one's negative. Okay, we're going to bring the 4 back in here and here. We're going to reduce y plus 3 halves. And this is y minus 1/2. Now, bring this in front of the y. We get 2y plus 3. And then we get 2y minus 1. And there's our factors. Clear. Multiply x squared plus 3x minus 18. Factor x and x. 6 and 3 is what I want here. Positive 6, negative 3, because that's positive. The bigger number needs to be positive. I'm going to bring the 2 back in, divide by 2, divide by 2. We can write our answer from here. We don't have to reduce any. Well, we're going to reduce that, but that's a whole number. So we get x plus 3. We're going to bring this 2 around here and get 2x minus 3. And those are the factors. Last one of this set. Bring the 6, multiply it by 49. 6 times 49. Okay, that's going to be basically 300 minus 6. It's going to be 294. So I get z squared plus 7z minus 294. Those are awful. Okay, so I'm going to factor. The difference must be 7. It's got to be 7. I know 7 goes into that because 49 goes into that, but that's going to be a large, if I divide that by 7, it's going to be a larger difference. The factors will be a larger difference than 7. So because I'm multiplying by 6, that means I know 14 will go into it. So let's try 14. 14 goes into that 1 time with a remainder 1. I'm sorry, 2 times with a remainder 1, and then 1 time you put the 1 on the 4, that's 14. Yeah, it goes 21 times. Okay, so we have 14 and 21. That difference is 7. The bigger one's positive, that one's negative. Now we're going to bring the 6 back in. 6 here, 6 here. Now we have to reduce. So we get z minus, we're going to be 7 over 3 when I divide by 2. Z plus, we're going to be divide by 3, we get 7 over 2. Okay? So, I'm sorry, we get 7 over 3 here. I knew I did something wrong. Okay, dividing by 2. So I get 3z minus 7, and I get 2z plus 7. And that should give us this when we multiply all that out. And that's example set 3. We're going to factor our last set of trinomials, example 4. This is going to go pretty much the same way the last set did. We notice we have a minus minus pattern that's going to give us alternating signs. We're going to multiply the 2 and the 7. We're definitely, I think I'm writing here, we're definitely going to get z squared minus 13z minus 14. Factor here, here. Z, z. Multiplies to be that, subtracts to be that. 14, 1. That's negative. Bigger number's negative. That's positive. Okay, bring the 2 back in. Divided by 2, divided by 2. That gives me z minus 7, and I'm going to bring the 2 in front of the z, 2z plus 1. That gives us our answer for the first one, and clear. Multiply. We get x squared minus 8x minus 20. Factor here. X. Okay, it's got to subtract to be 8, so that would be 10 and 2. 10 and 2. That's negative. That's got to be negative. That's got to be positive. Okay, bring the 4 back in here and here. So I've got x minus, when I reduce, it's going to be 5 halves. When I reduce, that's 1 half. Now we can write our answer. Bring the 2 in front of the x. I get 2x minus 5. Bring the 2 in front of the x. I get 2x plus 1. Okay? 2x plus 1. Okay, keep going. We'll do about 2 more, and that should wrap this up. Let's look at, that one kind of looks boring. Let's do this one. 3 times 5 is 15, so z squared minus 2z minus 15, factor, z. It's got to multiply to be 15 and subtract to be 2. That's 5 and 3. The bigger number has to be negative. That's a plus. Bring the 3 back in here and here. Write your answer. Pull the 3 around. That's 3z minus 5. That is going to be z plus 1. Z plus 1. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Let's do one more. Let's do this one right here. Okay, so multiply. You get z squared minus 15z minus 100. Factor. You get z. Okay, obviously I needed to multiply to be 100 and subtract to be 15. So that's going to be 20 and 5. 20 and 5. Minus 20 plus 5. That's negative. The bigger number needs to be negative. Bring the 4 back into play right here and right here. So I've got z minus 5 for the first factor. Pull that 4 around here. We got 4z plus 5 for the last factor. And that's going to conclude factoring ax squared minus bx minus c.